So this is Tony from Kate's Crafty Closet with another card for my Christmas in July series. So we're going to start off with a red piece of cardstock for a top folding card, which is measured by 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So we're going to go ahead and put that to the side. Then we're going to, I came in and went ahead and used the largest die from the MFT Wonky Stitch die, and I cut 2 panels using some Neenah Solo White 80-pound cardstock. And then the next thing I went ahead and did was I punched out some white and some red scallop circles. These are 1-inch scallop circles, but I used a punch. If you have just a 1-inch plain circle punch, this will work. That'll work perfectly as well. Or if you have a 1-inch circle die, you most certainly can die cut these out. Kind of use what you have. So I'm going to put that aside. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment on it because the card will have a little bit of a tiny bit of bulk on it, but not a whole lot. So I have a panel already in here. And this is a Merry Christmas from a Hero Art stamp set. And all the products that I use today will be listed in the description box below in case you want to check it out. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up with some Candy Apple Red True Color Fusion ink from Fun Stamper's Journey. And I'm just going to go ahead and tap it. I'm like probably going to have to stamp this more than once. So that's why I pulled out my Stamparatus. Okay. So take a look. And yeah, we need to go one more time just to get a little bit of a darker image. Okay. And there we go. And we'll press. And that should do us. Yep. That's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. Put the lid back on my ink pad as well, so I don't lose it or I don't put the card in it on my fingers and get smudges. So with those scallop punches, I went ahead and made a candy cane. I didn't do this on video because it was a very tedious process when I just did it by myself, so I didn't want to spread out the video. So you just kind of decide how far you want to space it. If you want to end with red, start with white. I decided to go with the red because the white would blend in together. So that's how it's going to go on our card. But before we go ahead and glue it down to the card, I'm going to go ahead and put foam squares onto the back of the panel. So we'll go ahead and do that. These are like my favorites, honestly, pop-up squares that I've used because they're big, they're easy, and they're cheap because I got them from the Dollar Tree. And they work perfectly. I have never had an issue with them at all. So anytime I see them there, I honestly will grab every pack that they have because that's how much I like them. Because easy because this only takes like 12 foam squares, and I like to be generous with my foam squares, just so if I put it into the mail, it will hold up. Okay, so we've got that. Right. Put that to the side. Then we go ahead and flip it back over. And before we adhere this down, I'm going to add some liquid pixie dust from Ink on 3 onto the white areas of the candy cane. And I just went ahead and put this in an old brush that I had. And I'm just going to prime it a little bit just to make sure I got some flow. So there we go. I squeeze about 3 times. And I'm just going to add that sparkle onto the white. It's like you want to add it to the red, you can. And some of it probably will end up on the red anyway. But that's okay. But I'm primarily wanting the white to be able to pop as well. So we're just going to add that. It's like, yeah, I will link the video of that I did recently on tips and tricks with putting liquid pixie dust into a water brush or anything like that. Okay, so we have that. So now I can go ahead with some art glitter glue and I can put this onto the back of our candy cane, one of my favorite liquid adhesives because it never warps, and it just it adheres so great. So that is that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some of these little gems on here that I picked up from the Scrapbook and Stamp Expo. And I've been using these a lot because they got adhesive on the back and I just like them. All right. So I'm going to add 3. So got one there, and we'll add one up here, and not add, we don't want the adhesive that comes off the back of them sometimes on there. So let's just go ahead and peel that back. There we go, perfect. And put that to the side. Then I'm going to go ahead, I went ahead and did a bow with some red ribbon, and we'll trim it as we need it. So I just did it longer, and because it's easier to trim excess in it, because you can't add anything back on. So I'm going to put the bow there, and I always like to go in with an acrylic block or something with a little bit of, you know, just be able to put this down on here for maybe a minute or less, just to make till it grabs. And then we'll trim. Then we'll trim what we need to trim off of that. So I'm going to go, say right here. Okay, and then I'm going to go to where it's not over the side of the card. And then we can trim a little bit more just so they look a little bit symmetrical. I don't stress too much about that, but it's okay. All right, so we're gonna bring back in our top of our card, and we're just gonna go ahead and pull off the release paper and adhere it to the front of the card. And I'm going to add a little bit of liquid adhesive to the foam squares just so I have a little bit of wiggle room, because I have a tendency to never line it up great, even though it never lines up, and I'm okay with that because I call that homemade. And considering it's not that bad. Sometimes it goes on perfectly and sometimes it doesn't, and either way I'm okay with that. Okay, so here we go. So I'm just going to add some more art glitter glue to each of the foam squares. That just allows it to have that wiggle room so it doesn't automatically grab, but yet you still have that adhesive from the foam square as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do my best to line it up to my liking, and I'm going to go with that. I like it. Perfect. And then we're going to go in with our other panel that we're going to save for the inside. Add some art glitter glue to that. Open up the card, and we're going to adhere that on the inside for a note, a greeting to give to everybody. And this completes our card for today. So I want to thank you all for joining me, and remember, if you like this video, please hit the big thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button, and when the notification bell comes up, you want to hit that so YouTube will notify you each and every time I upload a video. And remember, all my social media links are also in the description box as well. My Facebook and Instagram, Pinterest, and all that social media platforms. So thank you again for joining me, and y'all have a crafty day, y'all.